Welcome to Open Division Season 3, Week 3 of EU. I am your host, Cookie B, joined by analysts Pokemon Panda and NYYRIKKI. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Doing great. Always looking forward to some EU Overwatch, but we see more tanks at play. Who even knows? I love this region.
So, of course, our first matchup of the day is going to be between Könige and NYYRIKKI. Of course, Könige a little bit on edge to set the stage. They did just come off of a loss, and these two teams have played each other in the past, of course, with Könige winning the last time they played. But Pokemon Panda, I kind of just want to get your read on what you're looking at right now for this matchup.
For Könige in particular, they've came off of a few wins coming from ESL Go 4 Weekly, winning it 2 weeks in a row. So these players in particular know what they're doing. They're about to be subbing in their main tank, Asso, for UC Bacon Thief. Going to come here on the Winston. We're about to couple Primal Rages to rip the bacon from your enemies, but never really know how it's going to end up playing out with the current meta shifts as it may stand. Support changes coming through as well. Some different changes. Maybe Smokehill might show us how strong Jack Morrison on that Soldier 76 might actually be. Genji's still pretty good as well, but the supports are always a very big interest to me. I think this meta might play more into how tanks play against each other, so it all depends on that proverbial 1v1, Winston v. Winston, Reinhardt v. Reinhardt.
Sorry, go ahead.
You got the floor. Take it away.
Sorry about that. No, just wanted to say, obviously, knowing that Könige came from a loss yesterday, but they have won against this team before, so it's going to come down to the mind game.
Of course, and I do love Panda that you know Soldier 76's name. That is so fantastic to me. I feel like more people need to know about the lore. But the lore of this game, of course, we do have on Könige at least one team member who's 14 years old. Makes me feel really old. And of course, a few of the players on these teams have been together for a while. But Mizuki, I'd love to tell us a little bit more about NYYRIKKI and what we should be expecting from them.
Right. So NYYRIKKI, they've got these like 3 full-time esports students at Alman, which is incredible. The fact that esports is getting to a point now where you can get schools for it, and I think that that'll give them quite a bit of an advantage. Having that proper guidance at an institution with people that are like paid to do this, it's going to do a lot for them. Coming through Open Division Season 1, they came through with a 7-3 streak. Season 2, they came through with an 8-2. So they're on that up and up, and they're really hoping to come through with the win, maybe get into playoffs this season. So I'm keen to see what they're going to bring to the table for this.
And NYYRIKKI also has a strong support lineup as well. I've seen Brookie on that Zenyatta. It's a very scary setup to be around. You can see that both their support set up around Lucio and Zenyatta. So if they need to run this core dive composition with the Brigitte as a DPS as well, expect big and flashy things to come out of this team in particular.
And I know Könige's about a little bit about 200 SR higher than he is and has beat them in the past. But coming off a loss, do you think that this is something, Mizuki, that NYYRIKKI can capitalize on, that, Könige is not coming in from perhaps a good matchup before? They're already one down, and they're kind of on that nervous cusp here with Open Division.
Yeah, 100%. So knowing that they lost their last game yesterday, coming back to the mind game, if NYYRIKKI knows this, a lot of teams might not be following what's going on in other teams. But if they've got their finger on the pulse, if they know that Könige has lost the game before, they can really use that to their advantage, play on the mind game. And, because we talked about this previously in other broadcasts and so, SR doesn't make the hugest difference. It can, but when the difference is this close, it really comes down to team synergy, how well you've been playing together, and how well you know your teammates. So I don't think that the SR is going to make the biggest difference. And I think that NYYRIKKI have a good chance.
I'll absolutely agree with that as well. When SR is about 200 in between each other, like we have in between Könige and NYYRIKKI here, it absolutely gets thrown out the window. It comes down to more how much time each individual has with each other. Playing in a 6v6 high-level scrims definitely play into that effect as well. You can play as much solo queue as you want. You can be top 500 all day long, but when you don't have enough practice into a 6v6 scenario as a main tank, you might never know when your team's actually behind you.
Do you think we're going to see any play with Wrecking Ball? Because at least on Könige, we do have one player, Smokehill, who has Wrecking Ball as one of his top heroes. So do you think we're going to see any mix-ups, anything particularly unique?
Oh, that's going to be a hell yeah for me. I mean, like, when you have main tanks that are able to use Wrecking Ball as a means of entering a team fight, taking over from that Winston role, you can also substitute him over inside an off tank or a triple tank role when your DPS will end up coming in there, like you were mentioning, Cookie B, about Smoke Kill as well. It's all very scary. One map in particular that we'll see there on Nepal, Sanctum, is actually one of the most popular ones where you take a core dive of Winston and D.Va, and then you just add a Wrecking Ball in there just to compile drive everybody up after the dive has already commenced. And it's just so much more damage to come on through, and it's just disorients the enemy team that much further.
Awesome. And if you're just joining us for the first time or you're unfamiliar with the format, I would like to remind our viewers that it is going to go from control to escort to assault, hybrid, and then back to control. And on that note, we are going to get things started. So we at the hosting desk are going to throw it on over to our wonderful casters, Commander X and John Allen. Thank you so much, guys. You're going to kill it. Take it away.
I'm muted again. I've done it once more, but nonetheless, I'm still excited to be here. Thanks, Cookie, so much, and the rest of the desk as well. I'm joined by Commander X. I'm excited to get into the games. Könige, they're pretty on edge.
Yeah, after losing their last game, or the game yesterday even, they kind of don't really have a lot more room for error. I mean, an 8-2 record would still be mathematically feasible, but it all seems unlikely. So really, this game is super important to them. Last time they played NYYRIKKI, they beat them, as the desk mentioned. So they've got to pull it out again here. Having to not use their main tank is going to be a big issue for them, but all on the line here as we start to move into this first map.
Yeah, Nepal going to be the first battleground that these two teams do face on. We're going to be jumping in straight onto Village.
Yeah, so I expect pretty tank-heavy competition to come out from both teams. Obviously, on the NYYRIKKI side, you have Beto and you have Skipper, both two of the strongest DPS in their roles. So we're really going to have to look to them and see if they flex over to tank or if they're going to try and run a more anti-tank style.
Certainly will. I don't think that Symmetra is going to stick on neither that Bastion. So whilst these teams get ready, they are going to be looking to roll out. As we were saying before, 14-year-old players are on the board. We've got a couple of students as well in the mix. Maybe they work well together. We'll have to wait and see as to what they're going to be able to bring out.
Yeah, certainly. Before going in, I have to sort of, in my head, the Edge is going to have to go to NYYRIKKI here. I expect them to keep their unbeaten record going in and really make a good contestant for the playoffs at the end of the season. So we're going to be on Village for this first stage. So at the moment, looks like we have Könige leaning towards a May Goats variation and then a Farah Tracer coming out from the NYYRIKKI side, John.
Certainly will. The May should be an interesting spanner in the works as they do roll it on out. Trying to create that zone, get that wall up, make sure they can't push through. But the Farah, a decent counter to it. Have to see how they're able to manage it. Skipper looking to pepper from the sides. You can see a big flank already from Beto, pumping in the damage from the back. But the stalwart hold onto the point is going to start up. The Reinhardt just keeping that shield up.
Yeah, so they're going to cool off for a second, swap over to the Hammond and a double spam composition coming out from NYYRIKKI. So they're going to have to concede point control, but once they can set themselves up, they're going to try and get a fast charge onto Beto's barrage. He's already at 70%.
Certainly is, but it doesn't seem like they want to go for the fight just yet. They're waiting for it. There's the first kill. That's a Brigitte going down. Brilliant potential now to go for that backline. The dive counter is taken down with May out as well. This is a brilliant opening to the fight. They're looking to push onto the point. That barrage still in the back pocket, but they might not even need to use it. Coalescence keeping the defending team just nice and healthy, but for how long? Finally, the barrage comes out into the fight. It finds two, and that should be a clean wipe.
Yeah, it felt like a bit of a miscommunication there. It looked like Kaiser wanted to chase down that D.Va after getting the initial freeze. Ended up overextending and just went too far, got picked off, and this set up Beto for this big barrage that we're about to see now.
Yeah, on the replay. He's just into the point. Just got both of those key players, the highway going down pretty early on. A nice setup.
Yeah, now we're seeing a lot of switches coming out from the Könige side. Going to be a Brigitte, Zarya, Reinhardt, McCree now coming out as well, obviously to try and contain Beto a little bit more, because if you give Beto free reign, he's just going to continue to dominate and control this map. And they're coming through the top side now, John, but it's going to be a tough push through this tight door.
Valkyrie is going to get popped early on. The pile driver, though, knocks 5 into the air, and the mines should try and zone them off, but they've already made their way out. Not to matter, though. There's still a Farah in the skies, and Baconfeed falling. No shield on the front, and the rest of the team, they're sent packing.
Yeah, not quite sure what they decided to come top there. Going to be a really difficult one. Obviously, all those ultimates available as well. Going to make it even harder to get through that tight door. Might have been better off going straight towards point. Looks like they're going to stick with the same composition, so we'll see what side they try and come out this time. But I feel like they need to pressure point. They need to try and minimize the angles that Beto can get. Otherwise, he's just going to keep getting this free spam. And as you can see, Riptire Barrage already ready. It's getting tough for Könige right now.
Riptire is out already. He's looking for the back line. That should be the push, just completely dismantled. They should be off and packing yet again with both McCree and Zarya going down. You can't really make much ground.
Yep, after regaining control after losing their first time, NYYRIKKI have been in complete control. Only one ultimate used in that previous fight, so still going to have Barrage, got the Transcendence, got the Self-Destruct. Is Könige going to have one final push here? They are getting close to that Graviton as well as the rest of their ultimate, so this is their big chance to convert, but they have to not lose anyone on the way in here.
But not only do they have to convert, they have to keep hold of it, and that should be a tall order as well. Self-destruct sequence, not going to be able to find too much for Domols, but there's a High Noon on the side. Again, not finding too much. These ults getting thrown in, but not finding the openings. And Beto, the Rocket Barrage, yet again, able to take down Smokehill on the back line. They still have that Transcendence to try and keep them alive, and the point does flip. They give it over to the Wrecking Ball, that core unit of the modified goats. They have that that extra DPS in, but there's the Graviton search. Getting popped down, Transcendence not able to save Beto, so they do leave a crucial bit of DPS out of the mix for now. The res comes through, however. They're looking to keep that pressure forward. The rally is popped onto the point as it starts to tick up. Könige, they might be able to find the opening here.
Yeah, we're looking to chase onto the high ground now, leading the way with a rally. Dommel still there contesting, but is outnumbered. Will have to fall back. Longer this fight goes on, NYYRIKKI just waiting for their spawns, but there's still a couple of kills being traded as we see Könige back off onto the point. They're now getting surrounded. They've lost the Moira, and that's the crucial kill. Tracer separated from the rest of his team on point now, and it looks like NYYRIKKI are getting close to closing this one out. Needs something big from Smokehill on the back, but instead it's going to be Mines on the point.
The minefield just zoning them away from the point. That means they can look to push in. And with Smokehill going down, there's no harassment on those sidelines. You see D.Va moving forwards. The charge not going to land. The Wrecking Ball is in, and the Graviton Surge pins them up. Beto from the side is just going to wreak havoc with that Rocket Barrage. 2 players left down, and it's just the Zarya left on point, 80%. And they are looking to get shunted off, 99%. They need to come back fast.
Yeah, Tracer on point just gets insta-gibbed right there, and now they're just going to have to run to it. I'm not sure if anyone can touch. Riptire's going out to deny anyone as well. Hammered got there just in time to get blown up.
Oh dear, that's not the sort of thing you want to be swinging yourself into, but that is the first map of Nepal taken by NYYRIKKI Esports. A good start to the match, certainly, against Könige.
Yeah, I feel like this might be the theme of the match, the sort of anti-GOATs composition coming out from NYYRIKKI against the GOATs, or the GOATs variations on the other side. But like we sort of thought, if they can get Beto into a good position, they're just going to be able to run away with this game. And it looks like it's going to be a Pharah, Widow, and Orisa coming out on Sanctum from NYYRIKKI so far. But a bit of change on the Könige side, John.
Yeah, they've gone up instead for this dive composition. The Winston, the D.Va, the Genji as well. They're looking to put that pressure on the back line.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be Ana Lucio combination, so somewhat vulnerable. Actually, no, will be the Mercy. So actually, in fact, Ana Mercy probably one of the most resilient backlines in the game. So going to be a tough time. The dive will have to be on point, and looks like they're making way up this left-hand side early on. Orisa shield down.
They're pushing it in. There goes the Genji. Deflect in the face of Orisa and the Biotic Grenade to prevent healing. Everyone's sort of just poking back and forth at the moment. No one looking to give too much away. Everyone kept nice and healthy by those support lines, but you can see Könige, they have control of that point. They've moved back down, and they are going to start to cap it up. In comes that Orisa shield. The hole is there, but Beso can't quite land the rockets, and they hold strong for now.
Yeah, good early damage onto the Könige front line there. Stops them at diving the back line at all, so they're able to just hold strong behind that Orisa shield and just slowly walk forward. Nanobeat's going to come out as he looks to dive onto the Zarya, the Pharah here even, but can't get him. Will hold on to the point, and Könige start to rack this one up, and they have managed to pick the Ana in all of this.
They've traded it back, and they're actually going to get one more on top of it. The Mercy and it's going to get pressured out now by Kaiser around those sidelines, and with that, again, Könige, they're good on the point.
Yeah, we were sort of, I was almost expecting a sort of a deeper dive coming out from Winston and D.Va, but they're kind of just containing them right now, not giving Beto a lot of room to move. Obviously, the Soldier 76 helped contain them as well, and just looking to pick off the isolated players on the flank, like the Widow and the Ana. But now it's a Soldier 76 from Skipper. They've got a lot of ultimates, supercharger on point as they walk in.
They take control right away, and Baito finds one with the rocket barrage, but it's doubled up. The Mercy is going to go down, and they're fighting it on point. The contest is going through, but there's still 50% and ticking. Dragon Blade comes out looking for that backline, but it's sent packing and slept down in the sidelines. Ana making that sleep dart work, and the pressure moves forward to the rest of the team. There's tactical visor coming out from the sidelines, but it is not enough. NYYRIKKI find a beautiful opening, and Ana playing their socks off.
Yeah, huge play from Brocky right there to sleep. It went down just afterwards, but he got the sleep, stopped the Genji having any more impact than that, and that allowed them to just sort of stabilize, hide behind the shield against the attack fighter, and get themselves on the board in this. But we're already 61% down, and now we're seeing Beto making the swap over to Brigitte.
And they are looking to maybe be a little bit stronger in those forwards fights on the point. They know König likes to stand there. They know what they like to do, trying to disrupt that front line. Certainly what Brigitte likes.
Yeah, Dummel's out of mech, gonna make this one difficult, and we're gonna jump straight on that Baby Diva, going hard. Lepidev's gonna be the first one to kill. They're all over him in this back line. Primal Rage will be popped, looking to finish him off, but they're struggling to find kills through this Ana healing. Still, Primal Rage going big.
They're turning their attention to the point, the Primal Rage, trying to look them off the point. It is still in the favor of NYYRIKKI, but the contest is coming through really strong from König. The rest of the team just dove straight for the point. Sucrex finds a double kill on this Ana. What a malevolent granny.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of much more similar compositions coming out from both teams now, being a lot more direct. Obviously, really hard to retake with the Orisa, so no surprise to see Lepidev moving over to the Winston. They nearly have the Nano Boost and Attack Visor available, but as you can see, really spread out defense from Könige so far, going to make it hard to get a lot of kills out of that Attack Visor.
Kaiser with the Dragon Blade, he's scampering up the walls, he's dropping on down, and there's the Nano Boost layered on top of it. A beautiful start to the fight, and it seems like they're going to be able to close it out. The Nano Visor only able to find one, and König, they've got 90% now.
Yeah, huge fight there, major committal of ultimates from both teams. Going to be a late kill onto Dommels as well. 97%, they're going to have to rush back to the point. They kind of have a rally. Johnsoni's going to touch it, just get caught by the self-destruct. And this might just be it. I don't know if anyone can touch John.
Oh, he's over the top. It's the Winston. He's trying to get it, but he's zoned out almost immediately. And it goes down now, however. And there's the rally from Baito onto the point. They find a second kill. They have a shout into this fight. NYYRIKKI looking to move it forwards. The Wrecking Ball is going to be there in time. Kaiser looking for those kills, but Broky is holding down that backline beautifully. The dive not working, and NYYRIKKI find a miracle.
Yeah, that was huge. We talked earlier about how Skipper and Brocky were kind of getting isolated on the other side, opposite from their tanks. But right there, Skipper and Brocky just come out huge, get 2, 3, 4 kills maybe even between them, completely turn the tide of that fight. They're 99% down. They're in with a chance, and the ultimates aren't too far apart, but the Dragon Blade on Kaiser has to be the one you're looking at now to turn this fight for Könige.
That sound barrier not quite ready, but they're going to go in with the Könige sound barrier instead. Biotic Grenade stopping that healing. You see they're just biding their time. They're waiting for that attack visor. They're waiting for that sound barrier to run out, and this is their time to strike. But in comes the Dragon Blade. They are all heal blocked, and Kaiser wreaks havoc onto the back lines. They're straight onto the point, and what a beautiful Dragon Blade.
Yeah, absolutely devastating there. I don't think there's a way back from this one. They're all going to get killed pretty late, and huge anti from Sucrax just really setting that one up for his Genji.
Let's take a look at that Kaiser Dragon Blade. What an opening to that fight. You saw NYYRIKKI trying to move around, trying to fade back, but you cannot run from an angry ninja with a big old blade. It's not going to work.
Yeah, you saw every single person he was getting on there was anti-healed as well. Really nice combination. And we saw good Ana play from both Anas throughout that last one. But it looks like we're going to go back to more of what we saw on the first map here. And it's going to be Smoke Hill onto the McCree, and Beto back onto the Pharah, Skipper moving onto the Tracer. So another one where I think NYYRIKKI are going to have to concede point presence, but they're just going to look to surround them, build up ultimates, and then pick them apart.
Yeah, a nice comeback though. We are 1-1 here on the poll. They're looking to take this third map. Both teams moving it on forwards as they roll out.
Yeah, moving straight towards point already. We'll get that earlier since Brocky's on the Lucio, so a lot more mobility again. They're just going to get straight onto point here, Könige. Looking for an opening, trying to enable Smoke Hill in that space he needs to find that pick. Beto can have to play a bit more defensively around. Just waiting, biding their time to make the move now. Going to be the initial dive from Lepidev moving in here. They're all over him. We get McCree straight away, John.
Dommels just had a massive pincer there, disrupted the backline. You could see the entirety of NYYRIKKI Esports just surrounding Könige right now. They're looking to contest the point, but Highway comes out swinging. He's going to be backed into a corner and loves where he finds himself, it seems. There's the Rocket Barrage. Will find one, looking to find more, but Brokey is going to be able to be the one to find it. It's going to go down for his troubles, and the cap starts to come through. NYYRIKKI, they have that point presence, but the contest is still there for the Lucio. They've got the Moira, very tricky supports to displace, but in they come. There's the pulse bomb, and only the Moira to deal with.
Yeah, Smoko hasn't been allowed to play in this game so far on this stage. Firstly, they just jump him straight away. Then as soon as he comes back enough for respawn, straight on him again, and he goes down again. And you saw there just how much damage the tanks took, where they looked like maybe engaged too early from the NYYRIKKI side, to get this barrage replay again.
Yeah, they are. König, again, they're going main. They're moving it forwards. The Reinhardt just getting booped up, and the Valkyrie is popped for the defensive. For NYYRIKKI, Coalescence as well being churned out, and in come the support ultimates everywhere, every which way. But Beto is spotted out by that High Noon. Will get taken down, and this is the fight that König were looking for. They roll it on through main, and they're going to make it work.
Yeah, a lot of resources dedicated to Smoko to keep him alive there. You saw the Coalescence being used almost exclusively on him to keep all that pressure from the Tracer and Pharaoh away. But he finds those 2 kills, he sets up his team, they're straight back on point. And now they've got this, it'll be harder for them to repush with the Pharaoh. And they have actually moved Skipper over to Junkrat as well, which is maybe a bit of an odd choice. Not being able to pressure from McCree as heavily as they could do with their previous composition, but we'll still be looking for a slow push and just to soften them up with a spam before trying to take a fight on point.
That Graviton Surge could be pretty negated by that sound barrier if it's well placed, but I have to wait and see who's going to get the ult off first. The rally is popped to have that defensive armor for König. They take control of the point. The Earthshatter doesn't find anyone. They were looking for the Winston, but he was gone already. They're sent back, but a little bit of an overinvestment maybe there from König.
Yeah, he used a couple of ultimates. NYYRIKKI seemed quite happy just to concede that fight and come back to the next one with a bigger ult advantage. But still, that grab from Highway does exist. The main question you have to ask is, where's the follow-up going to come from? They have the Deadeye, not the most classic of combos. And other than that, they're going to have to rely on a lot of low-damage heroes to focus on the same targets. So really going to have to try and find a way through here. And that's, again, that sound barrier from Brocky still in play as they look to come through this enclosed side and go straight towards point.
Have it. They go in with the sound barrier. Winston moving it on forwards. There's the Deadeye, but it's pretty zoned out. Baito has that rocket barrage, and he's out of sight, but it's not going to be out of mind for Smokkill. He turns around the corner, able to click it down, and Brocky falls with him. They aren't going to be able to use that sound barrier to protect them any longer. Onto the point, they try and flood, but 4 ults have been invested, and they are just not finding the return on investment here. Seems like they need to go back to Wall Street, get some lessons.
Yep, gonna have to back that one out. Feels like they had Skipper on the high ground there throughout of that fight, trying to throw in some damage. Didn't find a whole lot. But Grav kind of missed most of its targets from Highway. It was a pretty scrappy fight all in all, but they hold on to point. Now we see Leopard Death moving over to the Hammered, which I think will allow them to contest this sort of Goat's Death Ball on point a lot better. But they're 90% down. This fight needs to work in NYYRIKKI, John.
They have that Valk almost ready, but Coalescence is popped for König in the meantime. And with Broky going down, that's a huge support taken out of the mix. They trade it back, however, onto Highway, so no potential Graviton Surge into the next fight. They're looking to move forwards, and again, they're contesting. In comes another Deadeye from Smokkill, but this time, not going to be so successful. We'll get the D-Mech, however, and a sound barrier on the defense just keeps them so safe on this point. They can't find the opening for NYYRIKKI. They can't push forwards. They're trying to contest on this point. You can see the Pharaoh and the Mercy consistently being there, but in comes the pile driver, sends everyone skywards, and Kaiser goes down. That Brigitte can no longer protect the back line. They're looking to keep that pressure up, but with Mercy falling, it's so disastrous for König. It's not going to matter. Leaf Pad is just doing so much work. He's wrecking left and right, and the charge comes out. Who needs supports when you got one angry hamster?
Yeah, you saw the difference that Hammond made there compared to the Winston, just able to stay alive after engaging into the Reinhardt, into the main front line of Könige. Allowed for SVC team to stay in that fight a lot longer, move forward, and now all of a sudden, they've got control of a point, they've got 50% cap time, and they've got a lot of ults coming on board as well. So suddenly, not looking too bad for NYYRIKKI, but not a lot of room for error.
I need to regroup. There's still 60% on the clock. There's plenty of time. We do need to try and be wary, though, of that Transcendence, negating the Earth Shatter from Bacon Thief. And moving around this left side as they approach. That shield is relatively low, and you can see that Wrecking Ball just trying to continually disrupt that front line from the Reinhardt. If you can displace that shield, you can just pour the damage.
Yeah, Bacon Thief having to wait for his shield to recharge. Now going to have to take this fight with low health. Leopard Death coming in for another slam. Self-destruct over the top. Could be huge. Catches free.
It gets both supports as well. Dommels, what a madman into this fight. 85% and ticking, and they've already cleaned house. This is lost fight territory coming out from Könige. NYYRIKKI Esports on the verge of winning the first map.
Yeah, what a great time for a little set play like that to come to fruition. You've now got the Barrage, you've got the Transcendence, you've got the Valkyrie, you've got the Riptide all coming up. NYYRIKKI in a great position. It's going to have to be a huge fight. Desperate Somber switch. They're rushing to point. Oh. Lucio's already down, John.
There's the Riptide coming out, and it's going to fight 3! Skipper, what are you doing? They've got families. You can't be doing that. The Rocket Barrage layered on top, and that is going to be Last Chance Saloon burning the Midnight Candle there for Highway. He's going to fall down. Mini Diva off as well. NYYRIKKI Esports looking to take Nepal here, and they are going to go 1-up in the series.
Yeah, it looked like they were out of that for a big part of that final map, but all on Shrine. But it all comes back. They set up the plays. There was a big bit where it felt like they were able to give Smokehill the space he needed on Könige. It felt like they were giving him all that space, and he was able to take control of the game. And the double spam composition really wasn't doing enough. But that Hammond switch really turned that one around for them. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, you just get another look at Kaiser's play of the game on that Dragon Blade back in Sanctum. Beautiful performance. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to be Könige taking the victory on this first map, so they are even closer to going to that 2-loss record, which is something they just really don't want to do here, Commander.
Yeah, really tough start for them, and I think the danger for them is if all they've got is this Goats plus McCree composition, and it's not working. I mean, admittedly the map was close, so it's not time to pull the plug on it yet. But if they don't have anything else up their sleeve, it feels like NYYRIKKI can just keep doing the same thing. Because right now, NYYRIKKI have something that's working, and it's the onus is definitely on Könige to change up, to figure something out, to maybe try more of a variation, like a bit more like they did on Sanctum.
Maybe Control, not their style of map. Of course, we will be moving over onto Escort next. A choice between Rialto and Watchpoint Gibraltar. Might be a little bit better for their set play, you know, the Goats comp. A little bit better at just going aggressive and taking those one-time fights than maybe... well, I mean, the sustain in a Goats comp is pretty good. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
it might just come down to playstyle for Könige.
Yeah, I think certainly on attack, Goats can be really powerful just because the defenders have to come to you. They have to stop you pushing the cart. So you force them to take that tank fight. So it makes it quite difficult for them. The main thing I'd be worried about is Skipper now. Skipper, well known as a strong Widowmaker player. Obviously, a map quite suited for that. Who do Könige have? You're probably looking for Smokehill, who did look pretty good on the McCree when he wasn't getting instantly jumped on by a Hammond and just destroyed before he can even fire a shot. Get him in the game, and he seems pretty good. But the onus really on everyone else to keep him alive and give them that space. But again, still leaning towards NYYRIKKI. They certainly look like the stronger team right now, at least at this early stage in the map.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they're the stronger team in terms of the stats as well. You know, they've got 15 maps to 0 map losses on their record with 5 wins so far in the Open Division. Everyone looking obviously for that coveted 10-0 win streak. First season, they finished 7-3. Then they went 8-2 in the next season. They're looking to do a little bit better. And it seems like they've got something going a little bit right for them. They figured it out, maybe, for NYYRIKKI.
Yeah, just getting the map pick in as well. And it's like we were actually going to Rialto instead. So,
yeah, there we go.
Interesting choice. Obviously, Könige going to be taking that one since they lost that first map. And we have got a sub coming in as well, John.
Yeah, it's going to be Bo Jobs for the side of Könige instead of I'm just comparing and contrasting 2 lists of names at the moment. Yikids, I think, is the substitutee. Is that
I think they've taken out Sukraz, the
you're right,
Ana player. I thought he had a pretty good game on Ana all round, and certainly Rialto a map with pretty good sightlines overall, lots of long stretches where you can really get good value out of Hannah. But choosing for this one, so I think a bit of a question mark here for Könige. We'll have to wait and see what they come out with. But looking at NYYRIKKI, no changes for them. Skipper on Widowmaker, Beto on Farah, both really suited to Rialto.
Yeah.
This might be tough for Könige. I think this map certainly plays into the hero pool of NYYRIKKI.
Absolutely. Just a little bit of info. Bo Jobs put down as the favorite heroes, Ana, Moira, and Zenyatta. So they might still be able to run that Ana composition that they're looking for, as you were saying, even though they've got rid of Sukrax. But it all remains to be seen as they are looking to go forwards. The air battle is really where I'm going to be looking, especially around this first point, because you've got so much environmental threat that you get a Lucio in there, you get a Farah in there, and all of a sudden you can't move past that bridge without really worrying about what's going to happen.
So yeah, going to be going straight into this one. Looks like it will be... Just trying to see who's defending first here and who's attacking first. Obviously, NYYRIKKI do get to pick, as for ones who don't pick the map, they will pick the side they start on. And it will be NYYRIKKI to defend first.
Yeah. All right, so escort-style map might be a little bit more favored towards Könige. They did put up a good fight. You know, on both the maps they lost, they got to 99%. on each of them on Nepal. So they are not out of it. They are not they are not sort of down and out just yet. They are definitely in fighting spirits. And of course, you know, this isn't just a best of 1. It is a best of 4 with a tiebreaker on the end. Well, it's a best of 5, I guess, if you want to be. I think it is just a best of 5, isn't it?
Yeah, just straight up best of 5. So
I'm just mixing up my words. That's fine.
So yeah, NYYRIKKI certainly on the front foot here. No surprise to see that they're going to be forced to defend first. Generally speaking, teams prefer to attack first because you then sort of set the goal. So NYYRIKKI looks like it's going to be an Orisa defense coming out so far. It's going to have a Widowmaker and a Hanzo alongside the Diva and an Ana Mercy. So we sort of touched on this a bit on the last map. Ana Mercy, one of the most sort of resilient healing duos that you can have. So going to be a really tough one to break. Likely to have the Orisa. It looks like they're just going to set up the Orisa on the low ground here. But this first point of Rialto is super tricky. That first corner is pretty tough to get around. And then the final bit, right by the checkpoint, one of the hardest points in the game at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to get through there. Of course, the spawn's pretty equal at that stage. So even if you do just keep trading, you're not going to be making ground up. And when you're in overtime, you've just got to keep throwing bodies at the point. And it doesn't work out. Well, we've all seen it before. It doesn't go your way.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be a double sniper opening here from Könige as they going to go with a Rein Zarya as well. Instant pick from Beto though on that Hanzo. That's going to slow him down. Red should be able to come through from Antol here. There we go, back to full strength, walking forward. Reinhardt's shield taking a lot of pressure, John. And now we're going to get to the first major fight in this corner.
See Diva just dropping down. Domus thinks a little bit better of it. Scarpa's back up. And there's the Holt, bringing Reinhardt up into the air. And no damage really to pull through because Beto's on that high ground as well. No picks coming out, and they haven't started to contest the point yet, Commander. They are just not dropping yet. They want to hold onto this high ground as long as possible, and that's why Skipper just blinking those headshots, making sure that they are suppressed towards that back line. If Bacon Thief's shield goes down for even a second, that's when he's going to strike.
Yeah, the little Holt back in there just as his shield broke as well to allow everyone to focus them down. And when it's double sniper against double sniper like this, it can be such a volatile composition. All it takes is one person to pop off on either side, and that's the fight already over. And so far, NYYRIKKI have looked pretty solid all round. Beto looked particularly good. And now Brocky's got this nano boost as well. Not sure who will opt for the target. Likely probably Dommels. Probably the best bet. But they're in a pretty strong position right now. And we do see Bacon Thief swap off to the Winston. So a bit more aggression going to come out from Könige in this next fight.
And looking to dive on towards the back line, but as you said before, very difficult to dive. This Mercy Ana combo, Dragon Strike, just dissuading that push. Really more of a zoning ultimate there. Not too much found with it. And again, John Sanit just holding on that high ground, a stalwart section of healing for the team. And Bacon Thief, he turns a corner and doesn't like what he finds. The Storm Arrows to the face, going to send them back again. Another headshot.
Yeah, they're playing kind of just in front of NYYRIKKI right now. It's making it quite easy for Beto and Skipper to have time to take these shots. Obviously, the map itself makes it quite hard. You can see how far back Skipper is and Beto on the high ground. It can just be really difficult to get on those snipers. You feel like, yeah, the changes are coming in now. Könige going basically full dive, so expect a deeper dive now. Pressure onto the snipers to come out from Smoke Hill on the Tracer. And this might be what they need to unlock this first point, John.
Well, in they go. Bacon Thief going to be moving forwards. There's the Hulk, dragging them back out, but they find solace in the building. Valkyrie has popped on the defense, but it's not going to be too much of a bother. Kaiser does fall down, and Baito's on an absolute tear this game. Finds yet another kill, and once more, the push is denied for Könige.
Yeah, few ultimates committed, still holding on to the nano boost and the self-destruct here. But they've kind of equalized the situation now, so after the comp switches, Könige have now got themselves in a place where ultimates aren't a mile away, but they're making changes again here. I'm not sure I'm too keen on this from Könige, constantly resetting their ult economy here. Feel like they just lost that fight because of ults and they should have given it another go. But either way, going back towards full GOATS competition here and just going to try and overrun Leopardef on that Orisa at the front line. Coming around the corner now, Dommels above them.
It's a little bit of a late swap though. They've only got 50 seconds left on the clock. It's do or die time. See that pressure forwards from this GOATS composition. Trying to make it work, but Beto's in the back lines and Skipper as well, just finding the kill. The headshot lands. Beto taken down, however, with a push forward from Bacon Thief. Not too sure you need the infrasights there. You should know where everyone is. And in comes the Transcendence to move them forwards. Nano boost onto Dommels into that back line. Trying to find it. The res comes through onto Beto, so they still have that high ground power. And Skipper is going unchallenged right now. The GOATS comp can't reach out that far. The self-destruct sequence not finding anything. And in comes the struck. It is actually going to find the mech. Dommels, though, keeps that pressure moving forwards. Bacon Thief charging back to the payload. They are moving it around the corner, but they've only got 8 seconds left. They're looking to tick overtime away. And there goes Kaiser, the Holt, the heal block. Just doing so much work for Könige. Oh, sorry, not against Könige. The Dragon Strike comes out yet again. The Holt comes down, and there's the Gravidon. It's going to be Mercy blocked on up. There's the Flame Strike to push it forwards. This could be the opening they're looking for, but Beto still doing work. Finds both tanks and Skipper lands the headshot. They're being pressured back, and this is such a devastating break for Könige. They are looking to try and contest that point. D.Va, the only one left standing, and the mini D.Va can't stay there for long. Overtime ticks away, and they cannot get forwards.
Yeah, just a shooting gallery at the end there. You saw Bacon Thief on the right half, just sort of turning his shield. He's got Skipper in front of him. He's got Beto behind him, just firing down onto him, and he supports, picking them apart. They feel like they probably just need to be more aggressive on the Orisa. That maybe would have helped them just put more pressure on the cart and force the other players to drop. But throughout, Dommels did a great job of contesting the cart, making it really difficult for them to move forward. Obviously, not a lot of heroes when you're in that GOATS competition who can really contest high ground, other than the D.Va herself. And even then, D.Va v D.Va, when one D.Va's got pocket heals, not really enough. You can't really put enough pressure on to remove them from the high ground. So great job by Dommels on that defense. And NYYRIKKI have set themselves up a great win condition here, John.
So, well, Beto just popping off on this Hanzo, constantly finding those picks. The Storm Arrows always landing that damage over onto Bacon Thief and making sure that that tank line doesn't go unharassed when they try and go for that dive. Even if they were able to get forwards, it just wouldn't work out because Beto's just been controlling the high ground.
Yeah, normally there's a strong emphasis on the GOATS composition that, again, your D.Va has to be the one contesting them and your Lucio as well, because once you've sped to cart, that's kind of where you want to be. So then the Lucio has a bit more free reign, but there just wasn't enough pressure on Beto, and we saw him on Farah, now we're seeing him on Hanzo. It seems like if this guy's got the quality, that if you give him space, he's just going to tear your team apart, and that's exactly what he's getting right now from his teammates.
A lot of space is all he needs to operate, but he's over on to that Sombra. For now, anyway, just hovering it. They are on attack, so they can change anytime they like. But that might be him giving the space to his team instead.
I think it's going to be a quad tank spawn camp here, John. They've got it lined up. They're hiding on the left-hand side. I mean, they've struggled to make it work so far, so why not try and pull out a bit of a wild card strategy, try and catch them off guard. Looks like it will be a Widow Sombra coming out from NYYRIKKI. A Hanzo Widow even. Probably not what you expect, but they've got out for high ground. There's no one for them to rush at. They've just completely outmaneuvered them by coming out the top spawn door.
This is going to allow NYYRIKKI to just move back to spawn, change it up to counter, and see what they come out with. Beto and Brookie, look at that. A Bastion being rolled on out. Skipper onto the Junkrat. They're having none of it. Dommel straight onto that payload. They're going to be trying to draw out that aggression. And with D.Va on that payload, he's into the sightlines of Bastion when they go and contest. You can see they're aware of it, and you can see that pressure moving forward. A beautiful set of swaps coming out from NYYRIKKI, and this quad tank forward push is dismantled yet again. They are going to be sticking on that high ground for now, but they're cowering behind the cart for Könige. They just can't get in. The remake comes on out, but for how long? With Beto in the skies, there's no one to push it forwards.
Yeah, tank mode coming out just sort of emphasizes how much damage Brocky was able to get there. And again, looking at Dommels, the player playing the cart, forcing them to go and engage him. They can't just let him push it for free, but it just sets it up. He's on Bastion, he's on the high ground, no one's challenging him, and here you can see in this replay, John, he's just mowing people down. It's just easy for him at this point.
I mean, when you've got 4 tanks right in front of you as a Bastion, you're rubbing your hands together thinking, ooh, how soon can I get my ult charge? I might be able to pop tank form in the first 10 seconds of the game, but around the corner they go. They're sticking on the Bastion. And once more, Brocky is going to be moving forwards. The Racket Barrage on the back line from Beto is going to find 1 kill, and that's going to be the Coalescence trading it back. This is a nice fight start for Könige. They're going to be able to try and contest this cart here. They were able to get back to that payload because, of course, that forwards fight gives them the time to respawn and reconvene.
Yeah, sticking on this high ground with the Orisa and the Bastion, going to look to try and get him into position. And again, Könige it's tricky for him here. What do they do about this high ground? They can try and just play sort of underneath the ledge so the Bastion can't get a clear angle at them. And that seems to be what they're doing now. They've got Smoker on the Widow, but obviously a lot of these sightline are going to be denied by that Orisa shield. So I don't feel now if NYYRIKKI are maybe on a comp they weren't fully interested in committing to, but Bastion going to set up again, start to spray down on the cart. Dommel's putting the pressure on. Supercharger down here, John. And the Riptide, they're throwing ults at this.
Hanzo can't quite dismantle it. The Riptide takes down Bacon Thief, which means that the Bastion is just going to be able to pump out the damage. He just needs to set himself up into that turret form. Out he goes. There's still a Hanzo as the rest comes through onto the Reinhardt, but that shield gets dismantled pretty sharpish. They're around in the corner now, the Dragon Strike. I think that got eaten. Did that get eaten? It got eaten up by Dommels, and that's going to allow NYYRIKKI to move around the corner. They're looking to move forwards. Only the Widow close enough to contest, and Smokil gets taken down. In comes Highway for the last-ditch attempt. The Lucio to try and back it up, but NYYRIKKI, they're moving it out. They're trying to put that pressure forwards. In comes the Moira. Bacon Thief's there as well. They are so close on the precipice of losing the second map in the row, and the Earth Shatter gets cancelled out. Rocky goes and gets that double kill, and that is going to roll NYYRIKKI straight to that finish line.
Yeah, no, I can sort of appreciate that from Könige. You know, you got yourself in a difficult situation after struggling on attack. You have to hold first point quite far forward as we get an unsurprising Bastion player for game. So I appreciate the sort of the wildcard strategy coming out, but NYYRIKKI just read it on the book. Don't know how intentional it was or coming out of the high ground. Don't know if they heard them, but either way, played it perfectly, played it safe, made the correct swaps. Really just good awareness, good communication, making the right swaps. And they kept the Bastion rolling. And once they got round that first corner, it was always just going to be super tough for Könige to hold on to that one. And now we find ourselves 2 maps up, NYYRIKKI on the verge of taking this series and potentially even eliminating Könige's chances of making playoffs this season.
Certainly making them very, very slim. Coming off the loss last time, this is not the position you want to be in. There's still the potential, however, for that reverse sweep. Next map style, I think, is going to be the Assault style between Horizon and Temple of Anubis, whilst these teams do line up. Saving
grace will be Goats is normally a bit better onto the Assault maps, just because you can just go to point on attack. You can really just challenge it, force the other team to come to you, and you don't really get a lot of opportunity to continue to keep contesting it without engaging the Goats competition directly. And that's exactly what the Goats competition wants to do. They want to fight you close up. So we'll see how it goes on Assault, but last chance saloon now for Könige.
A lot of close range fighting, a lot of long range denial. That's going to be us going to a short break as well. Us going to a short break. You guys can stay here because we're going to be throwing it over to our analyst desk. Cookie, what do you make of that?
Thank you, John. Commander X, you guys were fantastic. Of course, your host, Cookie B, analyst Pokemon Panda, and Nari. That was very interesting, guys. First question right out of the bat. I really want to know what you think about the captain for Könige. Of course, he was subbed out. Also, he's not here. How much do you think that their captain and their main tank being subbed out played into them going down 2-0 right now to NYYRIKKI?
Well, it definitely shows a lot of synergistic issues, a lot of desynchronization as far as tanks to trusting supports to trusting the space that could be created for the DPS. It could be a little bit over aggression coming out from Bacon Thief compared to their normal main tank, but we'll never really be able to know for sure unless we're inside their comms, listening in, getting into the nitty gritty of what they're actually saying to each other. But the way that their play design or is showing us rather is that there's a little bit of desynchronization going in between Winston and Diva play, which you know that you absolutely need. And NYYRIKKI is showing us just that. Their Winston and Diva play, their tank lineup, next to nil. It's together. It's very beautiful.
And of course, only. Oh no, go for it. All you.
No, I'm just gonna agree, saying a lot of the times your captain makes a lot of the big decisions outside of the fights. So having that lack of experience, I don't know how often, obviously Bacon would have practiced with them. I don't know how often they would have practiced somebody that would have taken up that role in place of the captain, but that alone can make a huge difference.
Right, and Sanctum and Nepal, of course, the one map that Könige did win. We saw some pretty crazy plays. Of course, we had that one sleep dart, I believe, from Brocky onto the ulting Kaiser, and then a follow-up later on from Kaiser on Genji with that 4K. Some great plays. We also saw some other 3Ks on Shrine, some 4Ks. There was a lot of back and forth. So why specifically, though, do you guys think that NYYRIKKI ended up pretty dominantly coming out on top so far?
I think it was just a little bit more what I was just previously stating in our previous point about tanks and the way that they more or less help out the DPS. I mean, we saw Beto literally shoving his play of Pharah into Smokehill, who was landing those shots on McCree. And I got to tell you, as a Pharah player in the past myself, once I was getting dappered out of the sky by a McCree, it's swapping time right there. But making the barrage stick, making the team play work just by way of the space being created by some tanks in between. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, both Lepdef and Delmels, they're playing very, very well, whether it be with the Orisa Diva or the Winston Diva. They're really doing a good job of channeling the space and keeping it open and occupied for their supports to fly freely and their DPS to shine as well.
Yeah, I'd say when you want to compare Könige and NYYRIKKI have been really good with their swap-offs. So we saw it immediately on Village. You know, in fact, the Junkrat, they came out of the doors, they saw the enemy composition, hightailed it back to spawn, came out with the Junkrat because they knew. They made those important swaps as soon as possible. We saw that time and again. And that's precisely where Könige had the problems, because they weren't making the right swaps. They weren't making the right composition choices. Coming through on Rialto, they were running a dive into a pretty strong counter dive, and they just weren't swapping it off. They weren't dealing with what they should have been dealing with, and that was the problem.
And Panda, really quick before we move on to Rialto, listening to you while we were on Shrine on Nepal, NYYRIKKI looked like they were going to let it go and give it to Koenig. And right at the very end, we saw that Wrecking Ball come in. We saw that Diva ult. And you were getting really into it. So I'd love to know your take on how exactly NYYRIKKI managed to throw it back.
I mean, Wrecking Ball himself as a character is not only just a stall hero, but once you just forget about his adaptive shields and you just try to swallow him and consume him and just collapse on him, that's more shields going over his way. By that point, he gained another 400 HP in shields, and then he was just dumpstering damage into the tanks. All the shielding was gone, armor was depleted, and Wrecking Ball was here to stay.
All right, and then I believe I'll give very quick last point, I believe, to Mizuki.
Okay. Yeah, just again, following up on that whole counter dive thing. The other issue that they had, of course, being that Bastion and the double snipers. We were actually saying in the chat earlier, you know, double sniper on Rialto, not the greatest pick. And yet, if you're not dealing with those snipers, it doesn't matter how bad the pick might be on a particular map. If you're not dealing with it, it's gonna annihilate you. So that's something that Könige can really start to focus on, finding out who is destroying your team, focusing them, and getting through those pushes.
And on Rialto, of course, we saw it seemed like on both sides, but of course more so for NYYRIKKI because they pulled it out in the end. Those snipers were sitting real pretty the whole time. They did not have a lot of pressure at all, Panda.
Yeah, double snipers definitely works better on the defending team as well. All things considering, they also had an Orisa and an Ana hanging out in those upper epsilons of Rialto. It was so beautifully placed. And that's when you were sitting there, when we were listening, it was just a very nice spectacle to watch from NYYRIKKI's sniper. Their Widowmaker in particular was really just popping off, hidden body shots, hidden headshots, uncontested. High ground was taken from the Orisa and Diva play, to my point earlier. Just when you have good synergy in between DPS and tanks like that to keep the supports unpressured, you're going to be staying up for days. You won't even lose a mech at that point.
All right, and very, very quick, you two, we have to throw it to our caster. NYYRIKKI or Koenig on this map? Are we going to see a 3-0?
Yeah, all right.
Just right out of the gate like that, huh? I mean, like, honestly, I mean, Koenig has been showing like strong showcasing as far as DPS are concerned, that if they figure out what they want to do here on this assault map, this is going to be make or break situation for them. I'll give it to Koenig here. I want to see more games in between these two juggernauts of EU Overwatch.
All right, Panda, Mizuki, thank you very much. We are going to give it over to our casters. John Allen, Commander X, it is all you.
We're going to have a talk about you and your mic, John. We're going to have a talk about
Should I just go, or do you want to take this one?
Can I get... I mean, the teams get a sub. Do I get a sub?
That's true, actually. Do I get a sub? Can I have a sub? Well, we are going to have to jump into the action relatively soon. Assault-style map is the matchup now we find ourselves on between NYYRIKKI and Koenig. And the Anubis map was selected out of the two over Horizon Lunar Colony. Some people, not a big fan of Anubis, but I certainly like it on first point because I'm a Pharah main.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the trickier points. We've seen sort of in some of the contenders games, maps like Volskaya go from being difficult to cap first and second points to being actually quite regularly capped. But I think Anubis still falls into that category where point B is just a nightmare for a lot of teams to get on. So I won't be surprised if we see more goats coming out from Könige. I think this map definitely suits that more. No surprise to see them picking it for NYYRIKKI. Obviously, Widow's still pretty strong on here. Could have a Junkrat, could have a lot of different stuff going on, playing around that high ground, particularly on the first point when you've got those two big high grounds either side of it. I think it will be a tough one, but it's do or die now for Könige. If they don't do it here,
it's over. Do it anyway. They're not going to do it anywhere, apparently. But yeah, and extending that unbeaten record for NYYRIKKI, you know, they've gone 2-0 up now. They haven't dropped a single map so far in Open Division, and they're looking to keep that going. I mean, and it seems like they're on the right track to do so. Getting that 6th win is really, really strong in terms of moving forwards and being one of the top teams in the competition as a whole right now, which is exactly where you want to be. You want to be going to those trials.
Yeah, it's really just about it kind of promotes the teams that make the least mistakes, the teams that have the most consistency, and that's what you want to see. Now, those are the teams you want to see moving on to trials and contenders. So as we start to go into this first one, 30 seconds left as they prepare their defenses here, and it looks like what I'm going to be focusing on is the swaps that come out from Könige, because Badessa talked about it at halftime, and I think they're absolutely right. The swaps from NYYRIKKI were on point all game, whereas we saw Könige sort of swap to one comp, then swap back to another, then just sort of it felt from the outside like they were a little bit uncertain about what they wanted to do. So want to see how they do in this one.
Of course, they have subbed out their normal captain, so maybe that has something to do with that lack of confidence moving forwards in their composition and lacking that main caller. But they're making the best of it, certainly, as they start their offensive here on Anubis.
Yep, going to get an early pick straight onto Kaiser, so it's going to be a far forward Orisa hold. Lots of you would have seen us in Overwatch League, you would have seen us in Contenders. It's a super popular strategy right now. Obviously, the Roadhog instead of a D.Va, a little bit of a variation there, but this just makes it super hard to get into this point. That first choke point is just absolutely locked down. Getting through without losing anybody is the key, but it's going to be tough. Ooh. And as you can see, John, they're just dropping like flies.
There's no way you can. Well, you can't heal through a headshot. That's sort of. I need that on a t-shirt.
That's a fact. Yeah.
You can't heal through a headshot. Unfortunately, Ana goes down, and you know that's your main source of healing. As soon as that happens, you've pretty much lost the fight. Unless you're already onto their backline, dismantling them, there's no way you can keep it on going. And when they have control of the high ground like this, you need to think of something to do.
Yeah, they're going to try and engage straight onto top of them here, and they're actually just going to get knocked off. They have got the Genji in behind now, starting to move around. This is what they need to do. They need to surround, but they lose their Lucio early on. Winston in the backline, they've got them surrounded, and now they can start to pressure point if they want, but they're slowly but surely losing people, John.
Bacon Thief actually managed to do work. Both supports go down for NYYRIKKI on that defense. They're managing to find those openings, and Kaiser starts to chime in. A beautiful Genji performance earlier on Nepal. Maybe he's trying to echo it here, but he does go down to Beto. It's not going to matter, however, the two tanks and the Lucio. Not to mention that support long range from the Ana is going to net them that point cap.
Yeah, after a couple of false starts then where they lost people before even really getting into the point, they sort of, Bacon Thief initially sort of faked the engagement on the high ground and then went back in with the re-engage. The Genji got behind it. It looked like it was falling apart, but they'd done the damage. They cleared out no supports. And from that point on, when you've got spawn advantage, it's just a matter of time until you cap that first point. 6 minutes left on the clock, but this is where the going really gets tough. This is where we'll see what they're made of. Ultimate's on the board, Nanoblade nearly available, but they've got to get through point B of Anubis.
Well, the going might be tough. But are they going to be tough enough to get going? They're going to be starting to move forwards, putting that pressure down again. Bacon Thief moving forwards. He's looking for that back line. That bubble just opening up that bridge for the rest of his team. It gets dismantled, and with the Riptide coming out, you can see they're beating a full retreat right now.
Yeah, intelligent play, going to try and wait this one out. Kaiser able to take it down with that swift strike, and now they can look to move forward again. Waited down that ultimate. Transcendence is available, but look at the stack of ultimates Könige have coming into this one. All about execution for them now. They've got the ultimates they need to win this one. It's going to be a deep dive from Bacon Thief. Here comes the Nanoblade, John.
Oh, he's going to go straight for the back line. The Transcendence is popped, but it's not enough. He's straight through one, straight through two supports. Zenyatta, what are you doing? You can't even heal enough. Oh dear, he's going to be falling back, and the rest of his team is going to be falling like flies, like dominoes on the point, as Smokil finds that pulse bomb onto the mech, and that is a beautiful execution. All those ults just stacking up very nicely.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a bit of a mistake there with, it looked like they wanted to stagger back on there towards the end. NYYRIKKI didn't get it either, so again, just great for Könige as we get this replay of this Nanoblade here. And with that extra damage boost, he can just cut through people with the Transcendence, no problem.
Yeah, they are just going to be moving forwards as that boosted damage is so strong. It's like being able to just drop that biotic grenade right on top, because you completely negate the effectiveness. You saw those swift strikes beautifully placed, and this is something that we saw from Kaiser initially over on Nepal. You know, that beautiful Genji play on Sanctum, able to open up so much ground and keep that pressure on there, so well placed on those Dragon Blades. Unfortunately, they weren't able to win it there, but it seems like they've got a decent shout here. You know, they have a 5-minute time bank, which means that NYYRIKKI, they've got their work cut out.
Yeah, great start. Puts all the pressure now onto NYYRIKKI. What you need, a bit of breathing space, a bit of something to work with, just allow you to relax. Interesting to see that they're probably going to go for a fairly similar strategy. Obviously, there's two main variations of these Orisa holds. There's the one that we saw NYYRIKKI do, where they hold for far forwards, like a sort of forward mini high ground, or you sort of do a May boost and go on the high ground right above the point. Looks like it might just be the same forward hold here, as they're coming out with the Orisa onto the low ground here. So no surprise to see them pull out the same strategy as well, opting for the D.Va instead. And again, it will be a similar thing we need to expect from NYYRIKKI. They need to surround and get behind this forward hold.
Surround, divide, and conquer is the name of the game right now. To roll out, they're hovering the Sombra and the Doomfist and the Widowmaker. Not too sure this is going to stick. One of them probably going to change, but this Junkrat is going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works, especially against some sort of dive comp. Could just trap up that Winston if they go pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it looks like a triple DPS Lucio composition, so definitely emphasis on that aggression here. They have got Smoker in a forward position with that Orisa shield. Nice little opening to try and get a pick. Doesn't find anything, but now here comes the setup. They've got the Doomfist, they've got the Sombra. Skipper actually swapping over to Hammond, so double dive tanks. Looking for a strong aggression here. Probably going to go for a slam onto the point and then try and pick off one of the supports in the background, I would imagine.
They've only got one support, though, on NYYRIKKI as well, with that Lucio. So not too much healing. And already, Doomfist has gone down. Straight on in, they move themselves forwards. Maybe just don't want healing. That Winston did get trapped up by the Junkrat, which means he couldn't put the pressure towards the backlines that he wanted, which allows Smokkill just to rain that damage through from the high ground. A nice, clean end to the fight yet again. And with only one support, I'm not too surprised there, Commander.
Yeah, it's really all about getting kills quickly, because they have no sustain. They're going to speed boost in and just try and trade kills quickly. So the idea is obviously you've got the spawn advantage if you're attacking, so if you trade kills, generally that's favourable for you. But it looked like Skipper just went a little bit short with his pile driver slam on the Hammond, so he was the wrong side of the shield, so didn't knock anyone up. So they're going to go again here, no switches, looking to get into position. Here goes Skipper again. Oh,
they've already taken down Brokey on the sideline, but in goes the Wrecking Ball. He's managed to find Kaiser, the Junkrat, not going to be able to dish out the damage towards those tanks. Smokkill getting displaced as well off the high ground, and there's two players just in that backline, pressuring Zenyatta. Finally goes down, traded for the D-Mech, but this is a really good start to the push for NYYRIKKI. They move forwards onto the Orisa, and they're going to be able to turn it around as well. Valkyrie is popped, just keeping Baker Thief alive so well, and Highway is back onto the point. In comes Smokkill as well. He's going to get Boot back as well, taken down. The self-destruct sequence layer down onto the point, only takes down the bubble, but the res is out onto Smokkill. There's the minefield, but Kaiser has that Riptire as well, and Könige chime back into the fight.
Yeah, really surprising how they managed to turn out one round. It looked all over after those initial kills came through from NYYRIKKI, but they were able to just sort of hold on, highway through down the self-destruct, and that allowed the opening for Antal to get the res onto the Widowmaker. Then suddenly they're all sort of back in the fight, and they just couldn't close that one out. And again, that's the problem you see with this solo Lucio comp. There's no sustain. They stay in the fight here, Könige, and they can turn it around. But now they have the sound barrier, now they have the EMP. Everything's starting to come online now for NYYRIKKI, so they can go for a pretty good set play here. Everything except for the Hammond Mines. Very
low time, though. 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. They're really committed to this style of push. NYYRIKKI looking to lose on the verge of losing their first map of the tournament so far. Not the first series, though, so we'll have to wait and see if that would come to fruition. But with the EMP already taken down, that's going to stagger them out further, bring them down to around that minute mark. And they really are in last chance saloon here.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. You can see him looking for the setup. They have all the tools, but they've only got a couple of opportunities to execute it correctly. Rocky going to try and move through this left-hand side. There's so much spam from a Junkrat and D.Va, though. He's having a real tough time getting through. Has to probably translocate back out of there. Slam comes in. Here comes the self-destruct. EMP, all the ultimates, John!
Oh, they're throwing them all in. They all press Q, and it seems to have actually worked a little bit. They've managed to take down Bacon Thief and the D-Mech as well. Smokkill getting displaced, and Baito has that Meteor Strike layered down on top. Mercy trying to fly around, but it's only going to last so long. Unfortunately, Brocky claims that life, and Highway, the mini D.Va, only Stallion left in the race, but it's going to get dismantled pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we said it. They needed to make the execute work with how little time they had left, and they did exactly that. Held onto the sound barrier as well. Be interesting to see if they want to switch or if they just want to throw this composition at the next point as well. Will be Brocky swapping off to the Zenyatta, though. Still with that double dive tanks, and again, Lucio Zen, or now he's going Mercy. So a bit more sustained coming out and a bit more of a standard push, I think, for this point B1.
Yeah, Baito, we've seen what an impact he can have on this Pharah before. See if we're going to be able to do it again. Looking for the opening. The sound barrier available, but at Kaiser. All right, the deflect with the rocket straight back onto Baito. Not going to dissuade them, however. There goes the sound barrier on the forwards push. They're looking to find that back line, but Mercy is down in the meantime. For NYYRIKKI, they've been dismantled in the back, and it seems like no one's paying attention to Kaiser. He's already built up 50% to that Dragon Blade after the swap.
Yeah, sound barrier came in a little bit late. They lost their Pharah early to the deflect, as he said, and then I don't think the sound barrier landed on the Mercy either, so Brocky goes down just afterwards. Now we're going to see some more switches. It's going to be Ana, Genji, Mercy, switches across the board. So it's going to be Genji and Hanzo on the DPS, Ana and Mercy, obviously, like we said before, a lot of sustain on that bridge, on that backline as they want to walk in, and then obviously Winston and Diva to aggress onto the backline.
Are they going to be able to drop it down? You can see there's the Diva in the high ground. Will get spotted out as Doms and Skipper and an Angry Monkey just tries to jump on up there. They trade it 1-for-1 on the supports. Bojobs and Brookie going down early into the fight. Junsoni, though, going to be healing that Winston up onto the point, but gets taken out almost immediately by a response from Highway, and Kaiser just swift strikes straight on through. Finds two, and again, Koenig rebuff the push.
Yeah, it works out well for them there. Obviously, NYYRIKKI coming off the back of a big sort of ult reset after all, no switches, didn't have too much to use. Könige happy to throw the Valkyrie and the self-destruct into that one just to seal the deal. And you saw them try and commit onto point late then, NYYRIKKI at the end with the sort of Winston, Diva and Genji, but didn't work out for them. But it's going to take them a couple of times to go ready, and an opening pick onto Smoke might actually give them a chance. Don't know if they have an opportunity for res here. Antol's going for it.
They still have that Dragon Blade available. The res does come out, and there he goes. He's just going to press Q, and again, he just dismantles the backline. He's looking for that Mercy, but there's no respite to be found. Bacon Thief to the skies to take it down, and once more Koenig holds strong with plenty of ults left in the back pocket as well, Commander.
Yeah, they've still got that Transcendence, still got that Primal Rage. Pulse Bomb not a mile away either. So looking pretty good. I mean, on the flip side, they are getting to a pretty healthy bank of ultimates here, NYYRIKKI, but the problem is you save up and you save up and save up, and you kind of leave yourself with just one opportunity, which gives you kind of little room for error, even if you put yourself in a good situation. So they're playing this defense really aggressively, and I really like this. And they're doing it again, but they're going through the left-hand side here. Going to get straight to point. Leopard Death already on it, John.
They're stacking it up, Kaiser. Just trying to pepper those shurikens into the sidelines. The Pulse Bomb doesn't find anything, and Baito returns the pick. The Tracer not going to be able to try and look at those backlines, and in goes the Primal Rage. They've taken down Bacon Thief as well. In comes the Dragon Strike to try and zone Koenig off of the point. They're getting pushed back. You can see they're holding towards that spawn self-destruct sequence. Gets blocked up by the bubble, and Mini Diva taken down before she can remech. In comes the Dragon Blade. Kaiser is able to find one. He's starting to try and open it up. The nano-boosted Baito, however, is going to find the Mercy for the rest of the team. They've fallen around his ears. Both tanks hold on the point, but he's not done yet. Look at this ninja go. The deflect is out. He's got those shurikens, but finally he falls, and that ult investment was huge from NYYRIKKI. They only get one tick and 50 seconds left.
Yeah, it starts so well for them as well. They go through that left-hand side, meaning their backline is much safer once they get through that door, so they don't lose anyone on the way in. They can take a more standard fight on point. Going great, they get a few opening kills. Then they've got the Nano Blade to finish it. And Baito just kind of ends up on the wrong target, uses his Swift Strike on the Winston in the end as the Mercy flies past. Can't finish anyone off. It all falls apart. But they go in, go. It's one last attempt, 25 seconds left. John coming up left-hand side with the 3-3 composition.
Oh yeah, they're going actually full tank, quad tank. Let's go. EU special. In goes the Dragon Blade, trying to slice and dice through, but it's going to be found to be him going down. Bojobs is going to be able to trade it back onto Leaf Pad, and there's the Primal Rage pressing them forwards. 9 seconds. They need to touch the point. No one's moving forwards. The boot comes through. 5 seconds now. They need to press W. No one's doing it, and finally onto the point goes Brocky, but he's trapped up by that trap, and it's not going to be long for this. Well, Dommels lost a life in NYYRIKKI, and they suffer their first map defeat in the tournament.
Yeah, huge. Not just because Könige won it and keep themselves in the series, but the fact that they did it in such a convincing style. That didn't feel particularly close. On that point B defense, I think there was maybe that one push where it looked a little bit shaky for Könige. But other than that, as we get this again, another Dragon Blade play of the game, as we were saying during it, Kaiser just destroying this backline throughout. But other than that one push NYYRIKKI had, it never really looked like Könige were in danger on second point.
They were really well put together, and the final swap to quad tank, that was a last ditch attempt. They knew they weren't going to be able to get through to what with what they were doing, you know, with Kaiser just dismantling them all time, left and right. You know, wherever they pushed, he seemed to be able to respond. Baito wasn't quite able. You know, he did very well on his Genji, but he wasn't quite able to bring it back to the level that Kaiser was putting out. And it just seemed like Koenig, they flicked a switch. They needed that break, and it seems like they've really regrouped themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of the sort of a danger we talked about when you're sort of saving up your ultimates and you're going for that one big fight where you've got the big ult advantage. If it goes wrong, like if the Dragon Blade you just hit the wrong target with your Swift Strike, or you don't finish the kill you think you should do, suddenly you've spent 2 or 3 minutes waiting for that one fight, and 1 or 2 mistakes means you've ended up wasting those 3 minutes, and you have to go something like quad tank for a sort of desperate last attempt. Doesn't work out. Back in it here, but obviously NYYRIKKI now get to pick next map. And even if Könige would win that, NYYRIKKI get to pick a map again. So ball still in their court, but certainly a fighting chance now.
Yeah, so King's Row is going to be the selection coming out for NYYRIKKI. Going over to jolly old London, one of my favorites.
No bias in that at all.
No, none at all. I mean, I live near it, I guess you could say. I live near London, but I do love it anyway. It's King's Row as well, which is one of my favorite maps in Overwatch at the moment. You've got those long sightlines on that first point. You've got those winding streets on the second, and it's pretty much all hell can break loose on that third point. So I really, really enjoy watching, casting, playing this map as well. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, and again, you got to look at it. Ghost pretty reliable on this one, particularly on first and second point. Maybe not so much on third point because of all the high ground surrounding it, but certainly an opportunity for Könige to fall back on that. Though saying that, I think Könige actually played their best Overwatch today when they've not been on the 3-3 composition, when they've been playing Kaiser on the Genji and having Smoke Hill flex around more to the Tracer or to the Widow. I feel like they've had a better time with that.
They might try and find a better time here, but they're going to be starting out on the offense. On the beg your pardon. On the defense, NYYRIKKI looking to bring it out, and it looks like they're going for the Orisa start to the hold with Dommels on that Diva. This is what we saw on Rialto, this tank composition.
Yeah, quite a classic defense. It plays in a similar way, similar kind of concepts to what we saw on Anubius, where you'll see the Orisa likely start on the high ground with the Junkrat and the Widow behind it. Obviously makes it really hard to engage that high ground and take it away from NYYRIKKI. The plus side, or the main problem with this Orisa comp on defense is how you make that transition from the high ground, where you can sort of see the Orisa now, to that low ground. Generally speaking, you want to make it near that telephone box. Otherwise, there's too many angles you're open to. But it's something a lot of teams struggle with. It's a really hard transition to make, and the focus is going to be how NYYRIKKI can contest point once Könige put the pressure on it.
They have got that Winston and that Diva to put that pressure on, certainly. You can see Tracer already looking to rotate around towards that back line. High ground just being stalwartly hold, and straight in the tanks go for Könige. They're moving it forwards yet again, and they're controlling that side of the map. Widow getting zoned away. Plenty of tanks just piling on in through the window, and there's Kaiser to follow as well. The Swift Strike through the Mercy. He's dismantling everyone yet again. He is a demon on this Genji, and he doesn't stop for anyone.
Yeah, really well timed. You saw it as soon as the Orisa touched the floor, the dive onto the backline came in. They clean up everyone. Baito going to make a last desperate attempt to get on point. He'll get cleaned up as well. And absolutely well timed, well planned, and fantastic start for Könige. And they seem revitalized after that break, John.
Seems like they're going to come out swinging. Again, a forward position being taken by Bacon Thief and Highway. They don't want to be contested on this first corner. A very good place to hold if you're on the defense, but if you're on that offense, if you have the opportunity, you fight forwards and you take control there, because, well, then you can't be held.
Yeah, danger here as well for NYYRIKKI is they've made swaps to try and adapt, but the problem is you're now at a big ultimate disadvantage. There goes Banana Boost, Here comes the Blade, it's going big, John.
Oh, it's Kaiser yet again. He's straight into the front line, however. He's going to get zoned away. Not too much foul, and actually it's Bojobs to go down. Anna's traded back. As both of these teams lose their main support coming out. Sorry, one of their main supports coming out. Skipper, though, he's a little bit stronger for NYYRIKKI Esports. They're looking to get that D-Mech as well, but this first point already taken down. Kaiser's not done just yet. The Swift Strike straight on back out. He finds himself one and just beats a hasty retreat, but not before Beto can land those rockets from the high ground. NYYRIKKI, they hold.
Yeah, late trade from Kaiser, but probably worth it in the end since he got the self-destruct out as well. Kill still being traded here, a little bit messy. Looking to walk it forward. Interesting to see the Farah and Soldier 76 combination come out. Obviously, a lot of sustained pressure here, whereas a more dive-focused approach from Könige here on the defense, on the attack, sorry. And they're getting up to this one, but Skipper's walking forward with this attack visor, and he looks like he wants to be aggressive with it because he's leading that front line in.
They've got that Valkyrie up as well. Only going to be lasting so long, however. Beto just peppering towards that back line, but into the skies, everybody just jumps straight up. And Beto goes down to the biotic grenade. There's the tactical visor that you were talking about. It will find Kaiser. So they've already dismantled the Genji before the sound barrier could protect him. They're trying to pump out their jummage, and it is the heal block onto the Tracer into the back line, but it's not going to matter because the rest of the team is being kept nice and healthy by Bojobs towards that back. And there we are, the contest starting to come on out. Both of those tanks just trying to get it done, but Smockhill is just dismantling the Mercy. He finds Brocky as well. This Tracer is starting to turn on up. Kaiser can do it, so can I, says Smockhill. And they find the Mercy, but it's only the D.Va to contest, and it gets demeched.
Yeah, pretty much identical approaches from both teams, both going for that backline trade, trying to kill the other team's supports. And the supports were kind of open because the tanks had left to go kill the other team's backline. But great play from Smockhill to get all those kills, really combining with his team well. Antol as well on the backline for Könige did a great job just staying alive for so long with sort of minimal help from the rest of his team just because they were all going aggressive. And now they capped second point, 4 minutes 30 seconds left on the clock. This is looking pretty good, and this dive composition really coming to the fore for him here.
They've got another nano blade in the pocket as well, Commander. They might be looking to try and pressure that forwards. In goes the Winston. On both sides, they're looking for the back line, and Kaiser trying to get it done. Beto with that rocket barrage does get slept up and taken down. That blade going to be slicing straight on through the armor that Farah has on, but that self-destruct sequence, oh dear, straight off the edge. Not going to be finding anything for Dommels, but Skipper, he's able to take down Smockhill in the sidelines. The pressure keeps coming forwards from NYYRIKKI on this defense. They're trying to make it work. The Dragon Blade didn't find too much, but in goes the self-destruct sequence. Will find one, and this is the Mercy. A huge pickup now for the offensive for Könige. They move it on forward. You can see there's the Primal Rage being popped on out. Leap. Oh, there we go. Winston just trading it on back. They're jumping all about, but the heal block should finally pick it off. And Smockhill, he's on a tear on this Tracer.
Yeah, great continuous use of ultimates to keep that push going there. Könige not getting too far ahead of themselves, not trying to win the fight too quickly, getting one advantage, building on it, getting more and more advantages. And now they're right at the end. Desperate attack visor from Skipper coming out, but he slept!
He slept up by the Ana. A very beautiful sleep dart just coming on out. Brocky going to be taken down as well. Könige so close to the finish line. They just need to find that final push, and the Dragonblind might just do it. They're pushing it in, and the Tracer finding all the picks as well. The Primal Rage to try and defend, but it's just not quite enough. It's going to go down eventually, and onto the point. Piles the rest of the team. Skipper trying his best to contest, but the self-destruct sequence looking to try and stay it away. The grapple not trying to swing them out, but in comes the rest of the tanks and the Lucio to contest. Vito drops that rocket barrage, but it's eaten up, and they push it home. All the way they go, and Könige, they are really coming out swinging again.
What's happening? What happened at half-time? It's a completely different team. It's a completely different team. It's miraculous. It's obviously great for Könige, but they seem switched on. Their calls seem on point. They know who wants to use their ultimate. They're chaining these together. They're keeping the pushes going. They have their dive targets identified. And right now, they just ramped up the tempo over these last couple of maps, and NYYRIKKI are scrambling to keep up.
They really seem to have thrown a spanner in the works. It was something you talked about earlier, Commander. You know, they changed off that GOATS composition, off that 3-3 setup, 3 supports and 3 tanks to try something else and give Kaiser the opportunity to move the way he does. And in that round as well, we saw Smockhill absolutely devastating on that Tracer in the backlines, constantly keeping the pressure up onto Brookie, onto John Sonny as well, and he just couldn't find the opening.
Yeah, if you look back and think of map 1 and 2, and we're talking about how much space Beto and Skipper were being given, and Brocky as well, allowed just room to play, room to make for play, set everything up for their team. Dommel's doing a great job of absorbing that pressure. Composition changes come out, and all of a sudden, the pressure's on that backline. He's gone quiet in the second half. He's been shut down. He's had a real struggle to get involved. Same with Skipper, and it's a really good change. And it's now the penny's gone the other way. It's NYYRIKKI who needs to find a way to adapt and match this pace from Könige.
On the high ground again, so we're gonna find the contest. Könige just gonna be setting up there. pretty standard coming out from them. Skipper maybe looking to try and take a couple of heads off, but with that shield from Bacon Thief, it's going to be a lot more tricky, Commander.
Yeah, going to be hard one to get through. They'll probably look to do something similar in terms of pressure in below ground. And we can see a Widow. Now it's going to be Genji Tracer coming out, along with a Lucio Ana, at least for now, coming around this left-hand side. And I won't be surprised to see him sort of fake and engage on the high ground and move to point.
This is a hard dive position.
Yeah, they're planning to go hard. Already got Skipper into the backline here as everyone else moves into the hotel. Looking to set this one up. Beto now working his way behind John. They're taking their time with this setup.
Oh, a missed leap, though, from Winston means that they do just have to settle for the point. They are actually getting some decent cap, but down come Könige from that high ground. Dismantled finally. Oh, a beautiful biotic grenade onto the high ground, and they just pour it on through. Huge from the Ana, and that is Rookie just coming up absolutely massive. That was crazy that he managed to hit, I think, 4 players with that biotic grenade.
Yeah, absolutely opened it up. It looked like it was going to be a bit of a risky one after, you know, the Winston missed his jump, then the Diva was halted out of the window. It looked like it was all about to go wrong, but they recompose themselves, they go again, and they nail that second dive. Like you said, thanks in big part to that big Ana nade from Rocky.
Making it work, and again, they cap in similar time to Könige. So, here on King's Row, NYYRIKKI, maybe they're a little bit thrown off kilter by their previous map loss, you know, first in the tournament, but they come back. They're looking to keep that pressure up, and they do so in pretty glorious fashion. But the fight still rages on over towards the payload. There's just a little bit of argy-bargy, but nothing too much to shout about. Both teams not quite willing to pull the trigger on the fight. But there we go. There's the trigger being pulled. Beto getting that nano boost up, and no one's in his sight lines. No one's close enough, but finally Bacon Thief does fall. He's looking to keep the pressure forwards, but they trade it back onto Skipper. They are pushing all the meantime, but in comes the self-destruct sequence. A beautiful placement. We'll find Brookie. And that is a nice pickup for Könige on this defense. Beto getting sent back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scrappy fight here, trading back and forth. It's quite a weird situation, obviously, with Winston, Diva, Genji, Tracer on both sides on this part of King's Row. We'll now see Skipper going onto Brigitte and Beto onto Farah to try and switch it up. So stronger frontline presence here as they put the pressure straight onto that Ana, but that Bionade will keep him up. But here comes the self-destruct deep into the back line.
Oh, finds both supports for the defense for Könige. And they're sent packing yet again. They have to move it on back. A beautiful start to the fight. They just need to finish it out, get as much ground as they can. This payload can be recontested, Commander.
Yeah, they will still get another shot at this, and we have a lot of ultimates with which to do it, but nice little self-destruct, just perfectly placed from Dom, straight into the back line, leaves the supports nowhere to go. So they're going to be able to get their way up through this, as we do see a swap off to Doomfist as well from Beto, but at Nano Blade, available once again for Könige. Can Kaiser do it again, John?
They can recontest. You can see Bacon Thief just waiting in the wings. Smokil on the sidelines has that pulse bomb as well. And in comes the Nano Blade straight on through, but a Swift Strike isn't going to be able to push him forward. It doesn't matter though. He's straight on through Ana and into Beto as well. And again, Kaiser comes up big for the rest of the team. And they pour all their ults into him.
Yeah, they tried to use the sound barrier to survive that one, but wasn't enough. Kaiser, once again, he's been really consistent with these plays. They've not always been the huge, you know, crazy 4, 5, 6 mans, but he's always getting a couple of kills. He's always doing enough to win the fight for his team. And now we see NYYRIKKI. Still time left on the clock, 3 minutes, but they're struggling a little bit here, and we're going to see a couple more. As you know, it's just Dommel's getting his mech back, but holding aggressive now. Sound barrier engaged from Könige.
Yeah, they are actually moving forwards. This is a defensive team, remember, guys. They are on the defense, not on the offense. Seems to be they've lost the memo somewhere in the works, but they do dissuade the push for just a little bit of time. Sensible pullback from NYYRIKKI, and in they go. After that sound barrier is worn down, there's a nano boosted Monkey, and he's doing the damage as well. They're finding the openings. Both supports go down. Beto is going to fall for the offensive team, and Kaiser's still alive as well. Self-destruct sequence popped on out, and despite both of their supports going down, despite all the pressure that's being thrown on them, somehow Könige, they're still standing here on this contest. The Primal Rage getting popped out for NYYRIKKI, and they're trying to make sure that backline's disrupted, but they're just set back yet again. Kaiser has another Dragon Blade.
Yeah, it's just constant fighting. It's really scrappy. People taking fights all over the shop there, but Könige somehow still managed to stabilize, and here comes another Nano Blade.
Oh, he's coming out. It's not Nano Booster this time. There it goes. Finally it is. The rally to try and keep them alive as Sommels is going to go down. Will be the sole survivor, or the sole victim of that one, but Beto goes down to a little bit of a melee there as the Nano Boost runs out, and once more NYYRIKKI, they're getting sent away. Könige, they're rallying around all of these fights beautifully.
Yeah, he just makes it work. Like you said, the nano boost didn't go on straight away, so Kaiser pops Dragon Blade, has to fall back a little bit to get the nano boost, still ends up with a 2k after it, despite having to waste a bit of that time. And once again, going into forward hold, ult economy, nothing up right now, but in a pretty decent spot. And NYYRIKKI seem to be running out of ideas here as they move on to a Brig and Soldier 76 composition.
Trying to keep that pressure forwards. Changing it up, but pressure forwards, the name of the game for Bacon Thief right now. He'll block onto Highway, has to just pop that defense matrix, but it's going to get demexed, however. Beto able to just get that shield bash down, and again, they've taken down bow jobs into the backline. Dragon Blade available again for Kaiser. Has he managed that one, but it's not going to matter. Taken down by Skipper, and that pressure forward finally comes up big for NYYRIKKI. 1 minute left on the clock, but they've got a bit of ground to cover.
Yeah, bit of an optimistic one there at the end from Kaiser. Maybe would have been better saved to see if they can get one final engage before this second cap goes through, which I think they might be able to do since they've got the Lucio to speed boost them there. No real big ultimate combos, so they're going to have to do it without. Do have the Primal Rage, but early self-destruct from Dommels to try and shut him down on his re-engage, and it catches for Lucio.
Oh, they're already able to take that down, so no sound barrier for Antol. The nano boost in Winston is going to pop that Primal Rage to stay alive. Was he'll block just that little bit, and the sound barrier for the attack is going to go down as well. Kaiser is going to fall in the fray, and the push forwards, the self-destruct binds Brocky into the backlines. But they trade it back onto the Ana, and they're keeping that pressure forward. Sound barrier for the defense is finally brought out for Antol, and up onto the high ground. They're sending them back. 5 seconds left on the clock. This is last-ditch attempt for NYYRIKKI, but in comes the tactical visor, finds Smokil, and they're keeping that pressure forwards. They roll it on down. The last-ditch contest comes out, but Kaiser falls as well, and in go NYYRIKKI. They should be able to push it forwards here, and finally able to get that second point.
Yeah, they just about get it. That attack visor from Skipper coming at just the right time, just when it was getting a little bit nervy around the edge, of whether we'll make that push or not. Problem is now they've used up most of their time bank. 1 minute, 15 seconds left on the clock. And because of the time bank that Könige got, if they want a chance to attack again, they need to finish with time left on the clock. And that will be a huge ask right now for NYYRIKKI.
Certainly will. NYYRIKKI, if they win this, they will be able to just take the whole series. But Könige, they're looking to come back in. They're looking to try and keep that fight going. The heal block from the Ana and the self-destruct sequence is going to be coming on top. But Beto able to block it up nicely. Smokil actually able to get the kill over onto Dommels before that remake comes through. And they do just pull back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Dommels threw his self-destruct defensively there. I think they were expecting another nano boost engage, so they looked to throw the self-destruct on top of their own supports to stop Kaiser getting on top of them. But they don't pop it. Dommels gets killed before he remakes. All sort of falls apart from NYYRIKKI. They can keep this push going, and they do kill Smokil, but they've got another nano blade to be wary of.
Yeah, there's still only 30 seconds left on the clock. And Nano Blade, something you need to be wary of. This corner gets rounded. This is smart from Könige. They realize, okay, we're at disadvantage. We only need one fight, and they need to find it. But they retreat isn't fast enough, as both Bowjobs and Bacon Thief do go down. This is the push they were looking for, but only 9 seconds to get towards that final point. They need to try and keep that contest on, but Smokil is looking to try and stall it out. Highway as well onto the point. 3 seconds, and the Nano Blade comes out. It finds Skipper into the backline, and Smokil turns the attention over onto the Ana. The Primal Rage is starting to come up big, though, however, for NYYRIKKI. They need that third point to try and be in the chance of the draw. They're looking to move it forwards. They are moving in, but there's only too little too late. The contest is getting thwarted. Unfortunately, Smokil is moving forwards, but they are just piling those bodies on for Könige. They are piling on everything they have. There comes the Wrecking Ball, the self-destruct sequence layered on top as they try and get it back in. And there's the Winston going down for NYYRIKKI. A huge disruptive presence, but Highway for the defense comes up big, finds 2. The visor gets nano boosted up, and again they're just trading back and forth, and finally the opening comes in, but in comes the Doomfist. They are not done just yet, and Könige, they are just holding behind this payload.
Surely they can't tie this one back. It's just Kaiser. He's got to try and shut down that soldier. Skipper comes in. He cleans him up. Can we get back on point? Tracer and Winston back on point. It's still going somehow. Here comes the Hammond. Surely there's no way Könige can still turn this back. Big anti-nade comes in. The respawns are still coming. Here's for Lucio. Winston can't be knocked off the edge.
Oh, finally! It's NYYRIKKI to take it all the way to the end. Round 2 complete. We're going to that round number 3, but Könige, they don't have much to do here.
Yeah, like we said, it was always going to be a big ask to finish that third point with time left on the clock when you only start with 1 minute 30 after capturing second. Weren't able to do it. Once again, Skipper seems to come up clutch in those final moments with those end-of-fight tack visors alongside that nano boost to clean everything up. He bailed his team out of losing this map right here and now, but you've got 2 minutes 56 seconds, and you've got to hold on to the first tick of first point, and that's really, really not a good situation. And all of a sudden, it looks like Könige, short of a choke, are about to tie up this series.
Certainly could. Definitely not on anybody's minds the prospect of this reverse sweep potentially coming through, but Könige, they've sown the seeds of doubt, and they're starting to nurture them towards that tree of victory as well. Very difficult to pull off, but that mental game is strong, it seems. Doesn't matter that you don't have your old captain.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to favor an Orisa defense again. We've seen both teams have pretty much no success with Next on first point, and they need 2 minutes and 56 seconds worth of success. So we'll have to look to how they deal with the backline aggression here, NYYRIKKI. I imagine Def will look to stay on the high ground longer and have Dommels play point more. But for now, they're just going to set up the Orisa shield fairly far forward and try and get Skipper an angle for an early pick. But full dive coming out from Könige, John.
They're just setting up. They know they've got plenty of time. And in they go. They're already controlling that high ground. Only that first tick, which means that NYYRIKKI do need to drop down and contest. Very, very close to the edge there, but Dommels finally decides to go for it. Skipper in the back lines gets taken down by Smokhill. Means that they don't have that Overwatch presence, but Kaiser falling. There's a little bit of a spanner in the works. He's been so crucial in all of these pushes that they don't find it. They might be in a little bit of bother, but Mercy falling down on the defense, and there we go. They've taken down the Orisa as well, and the teammate comes out. There's not a lot left in the bank right now. There's the nano-boosted Junkrat just to try and keep them alive. Könige contesting this point, and actually, Junkrat still going. Good jobs. Finally gets that biotic grenade. Könige, bring us even in the series.
Yeah, pretty much straightforward. Similar thing again. Early pressure onto the point, forces the drop from the defending tanks. Meanwhile, Smokhill in the back gets that instant kill on the Widowmaker, eliminates that threat. And now we're going to see, not sure, I imagine this will be the one on final point. There's Tac Visor, or just after the Tac Visor even. So legitimate aiming coming in here, John.
Actually being able to move his mouse as well as pressing left click. Who knew that you could do that on a soldier? Relatively unprecedented ground being broken here. And it certainly is, because Könige, they're coming back. They are 2-2 against NYYRIKKI, who haven't lost a map this entire tournament. They've just taken 2 on the trot, and they're looking to do more.
Yeah, you have to look at just the momentum of the game as well right now. Back-to-back maps for Könige, and like you said, the pace, they've ramped up the pace, and NYYRIKKI are struggling. Even on that King's Row attack that they completed, it felt like they sort of had to clutch it out a few times, which is great that you can clutch it out, but really they just seem out of the game a little bit. Beto not having the same impact on Genji as he has been on other heroes. They don't seem to be able to find a composition that allows Beto to play Nat Pharaoh or allows Skipper to play a lot of Nat Widow that they can really contest with the dive. I don't know if maybe like a Brigitte-based composition or something would actually work out well for them, but we're going to map 5, and I don't know which way it's going to go, John.
It is another control point. It will be Lijiang Tower, which is the map that was not selected at the start. Of course, we played Nepal over then. Lijiang Tower being played out now, it seems, as both of these teams just getting on ready. Könige, I'm very admirable, because it takes something special for a team to be, quite frankly, they were beaten quite heavily in those games. You know, they did have some shines, but NYYRIKKI, just every turn, they seem to have their number. They came back after the break, and they really put their best foot forwards. And I'm always in admiration of a team that has that strong mental game, that has that resilience to be able to just go, you know what, guys, we need to step it up. Let's do it. Yeah,
no, exactly. Like, Könige, not a team I've seen a whole lot of before. So as the series was getting underway, I was starting to think this is just a little bit of a mismatch, really. It's just too... NYYRIKKI are just the better side, not by like a huge margin, but by a notable margin. And they're just going to start to stretch away both in the league standings and in this series. But Könige coming back swinging, and they're on the verge right now. And if you're NYYRIKKI, I think you have to be looking at what do you want to play? How do you get your best players onto their best heroes in a way that can contest this dive composition?
Certainly something to ponder on for the rest of their team. But control point yet again. Last time we were on a control point, it was NYYRIKKI taking it. It was a 2-1, however, on those control points. So it was relatively close, with plenty of percentage being built up by Könige. And with the performance, the way they've stepped up, I wouldn't be too surprised to see it maybe go to a pretty even game again.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised at all. We're going to go to Control Center first, so a pretty tank-heavy map. Won't be surprised if we see a lot of a 3-3, but no sort of goat-space compositions that have for Reinhardt, Zarya, Brigitte, all playing a really heavy, aggressive front line. And it's going to be messy. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a pretty mental game. And so far, it looks like double spam Reinhardt, Zarya coming out from NYYRIKKI. And this is do or die for both teams now.
Certainly is. I mean, down to the wire, it all comes down to this. Both teams looking to keep that record. Könige, obviously, if they lose this, they go for those 2 losses, which is pretty devastating when it comes to your open division track record. NYYRIKKI, yet undefeated, but they are certainly not looking super strong right now. They've looked better, certainly, but that's how you want to look at the start of Control Center, taking down BoJobs, traded back onto Brookie. Keeping that aerial superiority, but Kaiser, he's as good on Junkrat as he is on Genji, it seems, making a thorn in the side, but that high ground still just being controlled. No direct hit scan to counter it out, and Baito will make it work.
Yeah, interesting initial position from NYYRIKKI there, taking the high ground straight away, playing around that mega health pack. Works out quite well, Baito with a lot of early damage, but Rocky comes in with a big sort of flying boot to take his counterpart off the edge of the map. Looks like that might be the turning point for them to get back in it, because it was shortly followed up by a kill by their Junkrat. Doesn't work out. We're back to the Genji Tracer now from Könige. This is where they've had success. This is where they've brought themselves back into this series, and they go into it right here again now, John.
Baito, though, equally successful on this Pharah. Will be difficult to contest in the skies. Kaiser needs to be on point with it. Valkyrie, hot for the defense as Winston just jump towards that backline, but they're not going to find too much success. Only Skipper to go down, and they do look for the rest of it. Genji up into the skies, trying to contest that Pharah, trying to contest that Mercy, and Baito does go down to BoJobs. The opening is there for Könige. They just need to grasp it. Highway gets demech'd, but they are still contesting on this point. Smokhill, he's still in it as well. They are just going to be able to dismantle both the supports and that front line. A good fight now coming up from Könige.
Yeah, really well played. Just put so much pressure onto that Hanzo initially, even despite the fact that he was getting pocketed by Mercy, just overpowered him with damage. Obviously, Mercy's healing being nerfed in this patch allows now Focus Fire to take him down a little bit easier. Lots of big ultimates coming up from NYYRIKKI here, but they're out of control of a point. A lot of emphasis going to be nailing on this Graviton and Barrage. I was going to say Barrage combo, but he's just swapped off. He's got rid of the Barrage.
Okay.
Doesn't fancy it.
Interesting decision, but that Nano Blade available for Kaiser as well could definitely be a problem for NYYRIKKI when they do opt to push in. And you can see they've gone for the full flank. They've gone for a full-on wrap. There's the sound barrier to keep them alive, and they want to move forward. In comes the Dragon Blade. Nano Boost, where there's Earthshatter. Finds 2, just sends them to the floor. Everybody goes down. That's the opening that they were looking for in NYYRIKKI. They could only invest 1 ult here. A beautiful turnaround, as they don't even need that Barrage Commander.
Yeah, that's the downside of going for that big Nanoblade combo every single time, is the other team's going to start expecting it. You get killed with a sword 3 or 4 times, you start to watch out for swords, John. And all of a sudden now, it's maybe a chance to turn it back. You see the switches they've made. Brigitte for Soldier 76, for Reinhardt Bazaria, very anti-dive. They want to stop it, and it's actually Smokhill going on to Junkrat now to try and counter him. But they're just getting spawn camped a little bit right now, so they're struggling to even get through the first doorway.
Both of these teams have had periods of dominance in this round. They've had strong fights, they've had weak takes, or they've just been wiped completely, and it's really difficult to call at this point who's actually going to be able to take it. But we're on 80%, and there's an Nano Boot of Winston into the backline. Baker Thief trying to disrupt the Graviton Surge on the front line to stop anyone else moving into support. And the Winston isolated, has to pop Primal Rage to even think about getting out. And with Leopardev just charging straight back towards the point, gets the pin on the Winston. He's going to fall down to the hammer. The rally not enough to save it. And another Earthshatter finds 2 onto the floor. The destruct into the backlines is good, but is it going to be good enough? Only the Lucio to try and contest as overtime started to tick away. Kaiser on the point, but Leopardev turns around to respond. Lucio cannot move forwards too strongly. And BoJobs going down to those Helix rockets, the Boop as well. And he's trying to send himself skywards, but is it too little too late? They're trying to contest with this tank line of the Diva, of that Wrecking Ball, and he's starting to swing around the pillar. A little bit tricky to get there, but it's just a matter of time before you boop it off. And there we go. Overtime starting to tick away. Riptire not able to do anything, and NYYRIKKI, it was hard fought, but they got there in the end for that first cap.
Yeah, we mentioned, the Des mentioned at halftime, the switches from NYYRIKKI were always better. It took him a couple of maps to figure out how they can best counter and absorb his dive pressure, but Brigitte and Soldier 76 with that Reinhardt and Zarya seems to be the one that they figured out. It feels like the one they're going to stick with, and I won't be surprised to see him keep it on this map as well. And it's working out. But Brigitte's given them that space to actually keep their backline alive and stay in it. And as I say that, they changed to a different composition from this map, John.
Yeah, they're always baiting you, always outsmarting you, apparently. In this case, certainly. Beto on that Pharah, a little bit better and more practice, certainly in this match, than Kaiser will be. And they are trying to take the skies. Antel swapping off that Lucio over onto that Mercy. Very, very crucial, especially on Night Market, to have that support in the air.
Yep, gonna see that Pharah battle going off. Both teams playing it quite cautiously right now. Just want to feel each other out. Obviously, NYYRIKKI on series point right now if they can win this one. Könige have to find a way back into it with their Pharah Tracer. No one wants to make the first move. No one wants to make the first step, but Dommel spots an opening, gets onto Antel, just
That's
like
brilliant.
that.
That's brilliant for NYYRIKKI, and with that, they can move forwards. The biotic grenade from Brokey as well, just taking down that Winston, and that is an incredibly clean fight. Only the DMEC coming through for NYYRIKKI. They've stamped their seal on the point.
Yeah, great work. He just spotted the opening, saw the Guardian Angel, maybe a little bit mistimed there from Antel. Just dives on it, gets him straight away. Great play from Dommels. I mean, we've talked about him quite a bit in this series and about his tank pressure and the way he's pulled other people away from the point and made space for his team. But right now, he decided he was the playmaker. And now Könige coming back onto the point here, John. They're trying to take it back straight away, direct dive.
Oh, Kaiser onto that Genji, looking to try and go for the back lines, and already they found both supports. This is the start they were looking for. Skipper's tactical visor gets denied. And this is what we were talking about before, Commander. Both teams have these brilliant fights, and then it just goes the other way because this ult economy is swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, switches now coming in from NYYRIKKI, going on to that Soldier 76 and the Ana. So Ana, Mercy, Soldier 76, that's an incredibly tough back line to crack. They want to find a way to survive this dive because they're struggling, but on the offensive side, since they need to retake this point, it's probably going to be a slower push, trying to work with the damage advantage they have. But don't be surprised if Könige don't want to give them that time and space. As you can see, Bacon Thief already at the choke point, wanting to get aggressive, but he's dead, John.
He's already been taken down. And once more, it seems to be the story of the hour. These fights just get wiped and the teams just fall over. And in the end, it's just going to come as to who initiates the fights first, as who gets the point.
I don't think I've seen a control map where a point's flipped so many times and we're still only just getting to 40% for one team. It's been pretty crazy and pretty back and forth. Teams looking really even. Now we're getting to that dangerous time for NYYRIKKI where Kaiser has that Dragon Blade, but not short of ultimates coming online either for NYYRIKKI here. And you can see that backline set up there with that Soldier 76 and Ana far back. That's going to be the focus of the dive. Those are going to be the targets they want to eliminate. Let's see how Könige decide to get onto them here.
They have the Valkyrie almost available for John Sonny. Will be able to keep himself a little bit safer, but we've seen how Kaiser can deal with even aerial threats. They're looking to move forward. You can see Genji into the back line, getting spotted out. There goes the Dragon Blade. He's found two towards the back, and Skipper falls down really early into the fight. Both destruct sequences, neither finding a thing, get thrown out. And this is, again, Könige just starting to turn the tide of the fight. Kaiser does go down to Beto, and they're holding strong on the point. John Sonny's still going strong. Cosmo not able to find anything, and finally Leopard is able to chime into the fight. The DMEC comes through, and for once we might actually see a hold on a fight.
Unprecedented here, John, as one team hold on. NYYRIKKI on the verge of taking this series after almost having it stolen from them from Könige. And you saw Skipper and Brocky were the first to die in that fight. For the rest of the team, they go for the trades, they find the kills, they allow them to come back in. Now there's a attack visor and nano boost available, and this could be enough to seal the deal here.
Oh, here he goes. They're just trying it all on out. Antel goes down, but Highway's been allowed to sneak on in. Bacon Thief is there as well, and an Ana boost onto the Diva. They found Dommels into the back line. They have countered, though, with a pick off onto the Ana. No huge healing, no biotic grenades coming out. The res out onto the Mercy, and they are predating that primal rage towards the back lines. In comes Beto with the rocket barrage. He started to clean it out, and it's just the Winston, just the Lucio left standing. They only a matter of health bars left. Skipper able to close it down, and NYYRIKKI, after a well-fought battle, able to finally take down the series.
Great series all around from both teams. We saw both teams grow it and change throughout the series, adapt to one thing, adapt to the other. As we're going to get that Leopard play of the game. I think this was where he earth shatters the Dragon Blade, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Completely shutting down Kaiser. And shutting down Kaiser, that was where the final momentum swing came. When they were able to stop Kaiser getting value out of his Dragon Blades, NYYRIKKI suddenly had time, suddenly they had space. Beto started getting into the game again. Whether that was on the Brigitte, a hero he's probably less known for, or on the Farah, and NYYRIKKI take the series. And I mean, I think at this point, I could say both teams would have been deserved winners, but one team has to win it. NYYRIKKI keep their unbeaten record.
Certainly do, but they don't keep their map win unbeaten record. They did take 2 losses there, which means that, of course, they are going to be going over onto that 6-0, 60, I think it's 18 to 2 map win record. And of course, Koenig, unfortunately, they take that second loss, which means that they are going to have a real tough time moving forwards into the open division, getting towards that playoff stage, because we've seen it before, 8-2 teams. I don't think it's mathematically impossible for them to get there, but it's really tricky and relies on other people's performances as well.
Yeah, it's not the situation you want to find yourself in at the week 3 stage, particularly when there's still quite a lot still to happen, and especially losing a series that was so close when you were so close to a reverse sweep. But you have to give credit to NYYRIKKI for making the changes, continuing to adapt. Yes, it took them 2 maps, but they earned that by winning the first 2. They gave themselves that buffer zone. So works out for NYYRIKKI. Obviously happy for them. Lots of good performances. Particularly impressed by Domowalls and Brocky throughout all of that.
All right. Seems like we are going to be about to wrap it up. That's going to be it from me, John Allen, and from my lovely co-caster, Commander X. Thanks for joining me. But we're going to pass it back over to the decks. The decks? Sure, why not? To the deck. To the deck to break that one down. Take it away, Cookie.
Thank you, guys. The deck is here. We are ready to go. We were worried a little bit, guys, for a second, Panda, Mizuki, Panda, did you think at any point we were gonna see this reverse sweep happen from Koenig?
I mean, I absolutely called it. I don't know what you're talking about. Like at the half, you asked for it, and I was just like, I see it happening. I don't know about you guys. I think the DPS need to continue to perform more than adequately, and here we are, time and time again. I mean, we saw Smokehill's Tracer get uncontested in that backline, literally living like he was a part of the enemy team himself. And then we were also just sitting there witnessing to how good Kaiser is on that Genji. It took a lot for the enemy team to absolutely deal with him. NYYRIKKI had a struggle to deal with Kaiser's Genji all day long.
Mizuki,
Yeah.
I would love to hear what you thought really helped Koenig come alive in that 3rd and 4th map. They seemed kind of sleepy the first 2. So what was your take on what really brought them to life?
I tell you what, hey, Bacon Thief, like, I don't know what happened. First 2 maps, he was there, he was doing the thing, and we still mentioned in the first analysis, like maybe having him in was a bit of a weird position for them, not being a team captain anymore, whatever. And suddenly from Temple, he came alive. And we've seen that so often in previous games. Other teams, somewhere along the line, the main tank just gets the second win, and he's like, no ways. And him, plus the 2 DPS that were doing so much work, creating all of that space. They were making the space for each other, something that they should have been doing for those first 2 maps. We even saw it on the 3rd map. It was just really unfortunate for them that they weren't able to push straight through to the full reverse sweep. But still, they got that second win, they pushed through, and it made a huge difference.
Right. And I'm wondering, Panda, you mentioned this a little bit while we were watching the match, that Koenig's DPS really seemed like it came to life. Give me your take on why that was absent before and the resurgence we saw in the last few maps.
I think we saw Bacon Thief literally fall into his own as well. I mean, off of King's Row, he was just enabled, if you will, by feeling very comfortable on a true dive composition coming out from Koenig as well. It was really nice to watch. Winston finding into that dive for the staggerings once the point unlocked on King's Row, enabling after that first Primal Rage just to set up a snowball onto King's Row, and it's not even in the winter season yet. I'm sure folks know at home it's still very hot outside, but just enabling the rest of his DPS to find these openings for the pulse bombs from Smokehill, to find these open opportunities and making it almost seem like open season in cutting butter like that with that Dragon Blade. Kaiser was absolutely a spectacle to watch there on King's Row as well. But I think the snowball and all of the flashy DPS picks that came through from Koenig was by way of Bacon Thief finally feeling comfortable with his team now. And it was really nice to see off of the first 2 maps, the Z synchronization just coming into being almost like a download complete kind of type thing for the main tank of Koenig today. And it just worked out so well.
And Mizuki, you know, I swear I'm doing my darndest for delay to work this out between us, so I don't keep cutting you off. But I do want to ask you, in terms of NYYRIKKI, you know, they were able to pull it out there on that last map. What do you think was just that little bit of edge they needed to stop that reverse sweep, to seal the deal, and to even things out, since Könige did win the last time they faced off against each other?
I think that might be precisely it. I think it might come down to the mind game. You know what happens so often with teams, they start losing, their mentality just goes straight down the toilet, and they don't think they can win, and so they don't. And I think NYYRIKKI, they did the opposite. They started off so strong. They had the momentum, the energy, and they were going for it. And then suddenly they started getting those losses. And they weren't, it wasn't like Könige was suddenly ruffle stomping them, you know, they were still putting on a really strong fight. And I think instead of letting it get to them, they came through. Last map, okay guys, let's get it together, let's push through. Because we saw the same kind of standard that we've been seeing in all of the other maps, but they pushed through with that little bit more. And I think that really came down to the mind game.
Right. And Panda, I will give you the last word on what we just saw between those two teams.
I mean, it was absolutely to the brink, the very end. Game 5. Most teams, in fact, through Open Division, the way the Swiss format has been playing into each other, they haven't really been seeing these close and huge matchups. So most teams haven't been going to a map 5 as of late. So really going the distance here was NYYRIKKI and Könige as well. Könige with that substitution on their main tank, they probably weren't set up. Maybe not enough caffeine inside the bloodstream for some of these individuals. I know that I was lacking some of it this morning as well. But you know, it becomes a little bit more difficult coming into a map 5, keeping yourself rearing to go and keeping the comms clear and keeping the mentality like my co-analyst was actually stating as well. You need to be conscious of those factors as well. You need to keep your mentality and you need to keep the positivity going through the rest of your core members as well, just to push through these finer moments. And we saw NYYRIKKI just really take it and run with the torch on that one. Just really fantastic stuff there through the map 5.
And of course, positivity is always such an important part of these teams. Of course, you look at Mickey in Overwatch League and the role he has played for his team. But guys, please sit tight. Thank you to our casters, John Allen and Commander X. Thank you to our analysts, Pokemon Panda and Neri Mizuki. We will be right back for more Open Division EU. Stay tuned.